Welcome back to another episode of the Thumb Strong Podcast. I'm joined as always by Barry and Bethany.
Hello.
How we doing?
Great.
Good. Awesome. Today we're going to be talking about longevity without the BS. So, what does it really take to improve or extend your longevity for life? Because there's a lot of stuff out there.
All the influencers and the biohackers.
Yep. And so there's kind of a lot of fluff, stuff like that. So we want to kind of cut through that and tell you, okay, what are the most important things that you can focus on to improve your longevity, instead of just focusing on kind of like you said, the biohacking and some of the stuff that might not. I mean, all this stuff helps to an extent, but how much does it actually help compared to what really matters? Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's what Bethany's thinking.
Yes. What actually moves the lever? First, we can do a fun little exercise. So if I gave each of you $10,000 to spend on your health, what would you buy?
A gym membership. That'd be the first one.
Are we thinking about this in a perspective of somebody that's never worked out before or currently?
Right now.
Right now.
Right now. Okay. What would you spend it on? Like a monthly massage would be really nice.
Yeah.
That, which you might already spend that.
I'd probably do
an 8-sleep mattress topper.
I already have that.
Yep, you already got that.
You guys would need one.
Yeah. A nutrition coach would be pretty cool.
I mean, like the at-home saunas are kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean so that's kind of funny because we'll be getting into that stuff.
A cold tub.
But like an actual cold plunge or sauna would be kind of cool. But that's just because I'm already doing all that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, you know what? $10,000. Have like a meal prep service.
Oh yeah, there you go.
That would be good.
Yeah, I would definitely spend a lot of that on ready-made meals, icon meals, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. Barry would get a really fancy bike.
Oh yeah, I would get a really nice bike.
Uh-huh.
Or a nice road bike.
Yeah, there you go. Anywho, so now if you can't spend $1, what would you do? So like, what's the biggest impact on how long and how well you would live on something that doesn't cost any money?
Working out, walking, running.
Yeah.
Body weight.
Sleep. That's my biggest one.
Yeah.
I know that's the biggest lever that I can pull. It's not the one that I want to pull, but it's the biggest lever that I can pull.
Yeah.
So, again, most people think that longevity is the cold plunges, the supplements, red light therapy, all that like extra fun kind of stuff. But the research says something different. It's like, and we'll kind of get into like when you can use that kind of stuff, because there are still benefits to obviously supplements, cold plunges, etc. But what actually makes a difference, right, for most people?
Yeah.
So what actually predicts living longer or longevity? So what would you say is like the biggest predictor like that comes to mind? But we have it listed on here, but
yeah. I mean, obviously one of the biggest ones is like your resting heart rate.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Barry?
Visceral fat is a good one too. We do that test for the in-body scan. We also do the grip strength test.
Mm-hmm. It's a big predictor of longevity.
So strength.
Yeah, strength.
Overall strength.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so all those are part of the equation. The number one metric that you can track is your VO2 max. So your cardiorespiratory fitness. Maybe the strongest modifiable predictor that we have. So they did a study of more than 120,000 adults. They found that higher cardiorespiratory fitness was associated with lower all-cause mortality. So like the higher the fitness level, the less cause mortality that they had. And they had no evidence that very high fitness became harmful. So to the point of like, you hear stories of marathon runners or triathletes that like dropped out of a heart attack all of a sudden. That's not correlated to the very high fitness level, according to the study. So
It's coordinated to something else.
Yeah, it had to have been something else. Either it's a genetic predisposition, or maybe it was diet or stress or something else.
Stress, lack of sleep or something like that. Right?
Yeah.
Something.
Mhm.
One of the other
One of the
areas
other
we're
things.
talking about.
Yes, which is obviously why they didn't have as much
Yeah.
longevity.
Yeah.
So, anywho, do you want to talk about what VO2 max is?
Do you have it on here?
You know?
So VO2 just by itself is just oxygen consumption. So how well your body consumes the oxygen, and then the max is at max exercise. So how well you're consuming oxygen at max output.
Yeah.
And so, like, I'm going to school for physical therapy, and there's a physical therapist that's one of my teachers, and he talks about that his main job as a PT is to get oxygen to your tissues as fast as possible. So he says that at base level, as a PT, that's really what I'm only here for. And as a personal trainer, that's what we do too, is trying to get blood to your tissues and things like that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Which the oxygen delivery matters just for like being able to work longer,
Yes.
harder. I think it's when the lactate builds up, that's when there is less oxygen delivery to the muscles, right? So like when you kind of hit that max output and then you start like falling off the edge of the cliff basically as far as your output, like you're going as hard as you can on the fan bike or something, and all of a sudden it feels like you hit a wall.
Yep.
That's probably where you like hit your max.
Yeah, that's your threshold. So basically that's your max. So your max is when your lactate buildup is higher than your oxygen consumption.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So fun things with that is that your Garmin tracks it.
Yep.
And also your Apple Watch does, but that one's really like inaccurate. Like it told me I was below average fitness as I'm like running half marathons and doing crowd, and I'm like, this is not right at all.
Yeah.
So Garmin has me at a 43, which is like
where do you see that?
more excellent. So you have to go to your app on your Garmin.
Okay.
So if you go to Garmin,
I guess I can check mine.
yeah. So you go to Garmin, you go to more, and then you go to performance stats, and then you can look at your HRV status and your VO2 max.
Oh, sweet.
And you can look at it over time too. So like if you start training,
I know I tested that in Coolidge. And I think I was like in the 60s.
Yeah.
I did the treadmill thing.
treadmill with the
year too.
mask. Yeah.
My
watch says I was in the 50s. Same with when I did that school, I was in the 50s.
Yeah.
As well.
Good. Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice.
Cool.
But yeah. So as high as you can get your VO2 max, like that's one of the biggest predictors of longevity with that.
Mm-hmm.
So since you brought up resting heart rate, tell us more about like why we should care about resting heart rate.
So essentially, the lower your heart rate is, the more efficient your body is, and you're pumping blood throughout the body. I also like to think about it like this: like if your resting heart rate is 80 beats or 90 beats a minute, like fairly fast, I mean, you only have so many heartbeats in your lifetime.
Yeah.
And so the lower you can keep that number on any given period of time, realistically, the longer it's going to last.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So good ranges would be like, 50 to 60 would be like an excellent range. A lot of endurance athletes are in like the 40s to 50s. 60 to 70 is very good. 70 to 80 is average. So if you're, somewhere between like 50 and 70, I would say that's a really good goal to shoot for. I think my resting heart rate, it might show. Does it show you right on the watch?
I don't know.
7-day average resting heart rate is 45.
45.
Yeah. So I guess I'm an elite endurance athlete.
Elite endurance athlete.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Oh, HRV 53, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. That's not the same as VO2 max. That's HRV.
HRV.
Yeah. Think about the wrong one. Anyways, so resting heart rate, we could obviously get into, are we going to get into ways of improving VO2 and resting heart rate and all that stuff?
Yeah, just kind of like the general stuff with it. So then the other number that we look at is HRV.
Mm-hmm.
So heart rate variability. So bring that down. it's not always like higher is better. It's just how well your nervous system is recovering. So generally, a higher HRV number reflects more of the like rest and recover of the neuro. Oh man, I don't remember the word for it. But anywho, there's the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system. So there's two different types of the nervous system, and so parasympathetic is the rest and recover activity. So it's best to compare against your own baseline versus somebody else's. So if you know you're an average 70 on your resting heart or on your HRV, then if you're above that, then you know that you're actually like you've recovered better. You have better nervous system adaptability at that point. But then if you're consistently a 70 and all of a sudden for the last 3 days you're like at a 50, you might be getting sick, you might be overtrained, etc., etc.
Not sleeping enough, something.
Yeah. So that's like alcohol affects it, sleep. So yeah, if you're not sleeping enough, that can impact it, or if you end up sleeping more, then that can raise it. Drinking alcohol lowers it. Illness, stress, hard training, those all will lower your HRV. And just to explain HRV very quickly, it's just the variability of time between your heartbeats. So like resting heart rate, if it's 50, right, there's going to be 50 beats within a minute. They're not all evenly spaced out. There's like milliseconds that the HRV is measured in. So the difference in time between those heartbeats, the greater the distance between them, or like variability, that kind of shows the better HRV, the better nervous system recovery.
So you actually want more
Variability.
variability.
So you want some that are like really close together, and then two that are like really far apart.
Yeah, interesting.
Which you would think it would be the other way around.
Yeah.
Of like, oh, you would want like lower variability because it's like consistent. But yeah, I found that kind of interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, the 5 biggest longevity habits.
Yes. Sleep. Sleep guy over there.
Sleep is number 1. Yeah, this is definitely overrated a lot. So, missing sleep repeatedly raises your blood pressure, your hunger hormones, your insulin resistance, and obviously you're not recovering both the body and the brain. So, like, when we think about REM sleep, most people have heard of REM sleep and deep sleep. Deep sleep is that stage of sleep where we're recovering the body, so the tissues, the muscles, all that stuff. And that REM sleep, that rapid eye movement, is where we're getting recovery of the brain, so think cognitively. So if you don't get enough sleep, or if you get poor quality sleep, you're not getting into the deep stages or the REM stages. And so if you don't have enough of that, that's when we wake up feeling sore, and we wake up feeling brain fog, and we don't have that mental clarity or energy that we want. So prioritizing and getting enough, not just sleep duration, but enough deep sleep and REM sleep is going to drastically change how you feel and your longevity and your health. And another nice thing about the Garmin, for example, we all have Garmins, is we get to track not just our sleep duration, but also our sleep quality. So like last night, for example, I got an hour and 40 minutes of deep sleep and only 51 minutes of REM sleep. So I'm lacking a little bit on my REM sleep, and then the rest is light. And some minutes in there are awake, even though you're not technically awake, like you're not aware. But up to an hour every night, you're actually like awake and not in any kind of sleep stage. Yeah. So I think that's important to note, because if somebody goes to bed at 10 and they wake up at 6, they're like, oh, cool, I got 8 hours, when actually it's probably closer to 7.
Yeah.
So that's just make sure that you're prioritizing a bedtime as well as your wake time.
Yes. Agreed.
I'm actually pretty curious. I feel like I know, but I just wanted to maybe Google it or ChatGPT it. What is the ideal amount of like deep and REM sleep that we should shoot for?
I think it's a percentage of your sleep. So like based on how much you're getting.
15 to 20 and 20 to 25. I can't remember which one is which though.
Okay. Let's see.
REM sleep should make up about 20 to 25% of your total sleep time.
Not bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then deep sleep's 13 to 23%.
Yeah.
So if you're sleeping 8 hours, it's gonna be 1 to 2 hours of deep, 1.5 to 2 hours of REM, 4 to 5 hours of light sleep, and generally your awake and restless times should be 30 to 45 minutes total out of
Right.
8 hours.
Nailed
So
that.
if you're in bed for 8 hours, then
About 7.5 hours of sleep.
yeah, 7.5 hours of legitimate sleep.
Yep, perfect. Cool. Next, strength training. Barry.
Yeah, so muscle matters for sure. It helps preserve your independence, bone health, glucose regulation, and metabolic health. So I can definitely see it in my grandparents and some of the older people we have here who work out that they're very much more independent than people who aren't exercising. And especially bone health too.
Yeah.
Increasing that bone density when you exercise and strength train.
Yeah. I think we talked about it a little bit last week where we talked about the different fitness methods like Pilates and yoga and cardio and all that stuff. And strength training is the only one that's actually going to increase that bone density.
Yeah.
And has enough progressive overload to create the adaptation to actually build more lean muscle mass. And I think that's a common myth too, is a lot of people it seems like, even after the age 40, some people think oh, I don't think I can build any more muscle. I'm in my 40s.
Mm-hmm.
Or definitely 50s and 60s, you hear it all the time. People oh, I can't build muscle. I'm too old to do that. Well, we prove it wrong to people all the time with our body scans. After even a couple months of strength training, these people are building lean muscle mass well into their 60s and even 70s, if you're doing it the right way. So it's never too late. Strength training, muscle definitely matters a lot.
And we hear it all the time. People have so much more energy.
Oh yeah.
From strength training and exercising too.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The next part is cardio.
Not just calorie burning.
Yeah, not just about calorie burning and weight loss.
I have a little bit of a story on this.
Okay, you go ahead.
Okay. So obviously it's about our heart, blood vessels, mitochondria, our brain, and our endurance.
Mm-hmm.
I would like people to think about their cardio for the heart and the health benefit, not burning calories.
Yeah.
That is if your goal is to lose weight and you're planning on doing all this intense cardio to burn a bunch of calories, the weight loss comes from the nutrition. It comes from the kitchen. Your cardio should be primarily for your longevity, your health, your heart health, your endurance. It helps with your resting heart rate, helps with your HRV, helps with your VO2 max, obviously.
Yes.
It helps with those things. So there was somebody that posted on Facebook and they said they did 3.5 miles an hour on an incline treadmill and their heart rate only got to so high. But then when they did leg press, really heavy leg press, their heart rate got up way higher.
Yeah.
And they're like, why can't I get my heart rate up when I'm doing this incline? And there's a bunch of comments on there. And I put on there, I said, for your cardio, 90% of it, you're only really looking to be in a zone 2 heart rate zone for the best kind of benefit for you. Unless you're trying to increase your VO2 max, then you do need spurts of max effort.
Yeah.
But the majority of our cardio is zone 2, meaning about 60 to 70% of your max heart rate. So real quick math, if you want to kind of figure out an idea range, take 220 minus your age. So Barry, how old are you?
21.
So 199 is your max heart rate. 60 to 70% of that. So we're looking at about 120 to 130. That would be the perfect zone for you, beats per minute, for your zone 2 cardio. So sustained period of time, you can maintain that for a while. You don't.
Garmin also tells you your max heart
and your
rate as well.
Garmin tells you max heart rate. It tells you the zones that you're in, all that stuff. I'm sure a lot of other Fitbits and Apple Watch, I'm sure will tell you too. But that's where your cardio should really come from. It's not just about going max effort, sweating as much as you can, and burning as many calories. The only reason that you would need to do that is if you were purposely eating way too many calories every day and you had to burn it off.
Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah. So like to touch on that. Like as far as maximizing your longevity, if you did 80% of your cardio is that zone 2, they recommend 150 minutes a week of that moderate intensity cardio. So if you did 50 minutes 3 times a week of that like incline treadmill or something like that, you'll hit it. And then if you did 1 high intensity session a week, it's like 1 high intensity Metcon where you're like, or you're doing hill sprints or assault bike or like
air bike's really good for it.
Yeah.
And
like
it's very short. Like I think it's like 4 minutes for VO2.
Like 4 minutes hard and then like 4 minutes recovery.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like the 4
So
by
it
4
literally
method.
takes like 4 minutes, but you have to be at like a maximum. It'd be like a zone 5.
Yeah.
It'd be like a max effort.
Yeah.
Output.
Zone 4, output. 5, yeah. So like running's an easy way to do it. Low impact would be like the assault bike or even the rower, but even this Metcon, they're going to get you up that high. Mm-hmm. And the next part with walking, obviously it's good for just overall health, making sure that you're not being sedentary. I'd say that's one thing. Like it's as bad as if you sit for 8 hours a day, it's pretty equivalent to the effect of smoking like 13 cigarettes a day as far as your heart health. So all you got to do to combat that is there was one group that did the squats every 45 minutes and that like reduced and negated that effect totally. But it's 2 to 3 minutes every hour. If you can move for 2 to 3 minutes every hour, get up, walk around, stretch your legs, like do some squats or something, that basically cancels out the negative effects of sitting for 8 hours a day. But as far as like longevity numbers speaking, everybody's like, 10,000 steps a day. Really, as long as you're above 7,000, you're doing all right. Ideally, you're going to get the most benefit between that 8 and 10,000 step range. Anything more than that,
it's not as substantial.
It's not as substantial. Like you still get benefit from it, but the biggest change is that. Yeah.
Okay.
And then obviously the next part, body composition. It's the number that people talk, BMI, and that's the biggest broad thing that people can take, right? They can just need somebody's height and somebody's weight, and they'll find their BMI. And then that's where like a lot of the health outcomes are measured, right? Super easy to do it across mass population and see overarching things. Not super accurate as far as, nitty gritty.
What you're made of.
Body fat, muscle mass, etc. So obviously making sure you're not in an excess amount of body fat, body weight to the point that it would hinder the rest of your body. But also being strong enough, right, for body composition. So making sure you have that muscle mass and that bone density to carry you through.
Yeah, we have recommendations on the in-body. Like men, a good goal would be a 10 to 20% body fat. Women, 18, 28% body fat. Mm-hmm. So the body composition really matters a lot. And we can see BMI on there too, but
I would say if you have the opportunity to do an in-body scan, definitely do one. If you're curious about your metrics and things like that, then I would, because BMI can't always be super accurate. If that's the closest thing that you have, then for sure do the BMI. But if you're close enough to an in-body scan, I would definitely do one.
Yeah. The one thing you can do if you don't have access to like the body fat percentage testing is your waist to height ratio. So for women, I don't know if for guys it's probably different, but for women, if you're under 0.5 for your waist to height ratio, then you're considered in a healthy range. And then pretty much like not the lower the better, but usually like generally lower the better.
So how tall are you?
I am 5'8", so it goes off of centimeters.
Yeah. But just for an example, inches. So if you're 5'8", you're 68 inches tall, right?
Yeah, 68 inches.
So your waist would be less than 34 inches.
Correct. Yes, you would want it to be less than 34.
Just so people can kind of understand.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if you know how many inches tall you are, you want to be half that inches or less in your waist.
Yep.
There you go.
Cool.
Perfect.
Okay. Myths.
Bust some of the myths. So, do you need supplements to live a long and healthy, happy life?
Not necessarily, no.
Not necessarily.
No.
Yeah.
Sleep is more important.
Yes. are there cases that we need supplements?
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
Iron deficiencies, things like that.
Vitamin D, just like basic things that people need supplements for, right?
If anything, I'm taking a supplement that helps my sleep.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like I still am focusing on that habit.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, maybe I need something that helps me fall asleep, like magnesium. It helps me get more deep in REM, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
To an extent, I think there's some underlying issues too. So if you play on your phone too much at night or things like that, so
definitely other things.
Canceling out other habits before supplements.
Yeah. Then we get into like biohacking. That's something that's a buzzword that's out there, right? Of like, I'm gonna biohack and I'm gonna do all these different things and follow the Brian Johnsons and all these famous people that spend millions of dollars on their health and everything. But if somebody spends 5 hours sleeping and then $2,000 on supplements, it's like, did they actually optimize anything?
Right.
You know, if you're not hitting that basic requirement of sleep, then it's like, it's not even, you don't even need to focus on $2,000 of supplements and all that kind of stuff. But, the most underrated longevity habit.
This is
right. So this can impact your sleep. It can impact, your cravings, your energy levels, hormones, everything. So
stress. Yeah.
Lower baseline stress. What are some things that can either like improve your lowered baseline stress, or things that can cause that lower baseline of stress?
Well, so some things that are listed on here that some people might not even think about is like just being organized, like even your workspace, your house. Like if you have a bunch of clutter, it literally is like a coordination or a correlation between a cluttered space and a cluttered mind.
Yeah.
And that more clutter you have in your mind, the more things you're thinking about, typically the higher baseline stress you're going to have. So a great way to reduce your stress, organize your environment. Organize your house, your workspace, clean your vehicle, whatever you got to do. That will help lower that stress. Being prepared. So like this mentioned meal prepping, but also just preparing for everything, even for your work day. If you have kids' schedules, stuff like that, like writing it out, being prepared ahead of time will reduce that stress. Not constantly rushing around, because that kind of puts us in that like fight or flight all the time if we're always like bouncing from one thing to the next and rushing all everywhere. Financial planning, healthy relationships, getting outside more, reducing the clutter, and then saying no sometimes as well to certain things will help with that lower baseline stress.
Yeah, it's like if you get all those ducks in a row, because if a lot of people stress about finances or like healthy relationships is one of the biggest things of longevity. This is not on here, but relationships is one of the biggest predictors of how long somebody will live, is if they have healthy relationships. They only need things like one or two like close relationships that like you can tell them anything to basically. It's not about how many friends you have, it's just like the quality. Like you need to like two really close I think it's one or two really super close people, and then being able to go out and do social things that keeps people going more so than anything, because it gets them out of the house, and especially after retirement. My parents are now retired now, so got to keep them going and getting out and doing things and making. I think the winter time's the hardest for people around here.
Yeah. It's funny because a lot of the things that help reduce stress, we stress out about doing. For example, like cooking, cleaning, stuff like that. Like, I don't want to do the laundry. I don't want to clean the house and stuff.
Yeah.
But by doing so, you're actually drastically reducing your stress. And then, like, how good does it feel? The example on here is literally like when you walk into a nice, clean, organized house or office or whatever, you feel better.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny that we stress out about doing the things that reduce our stress.
Yeah,
exactly.
And finding something that works for you. Like you're a daily planner.
Yep.
Use that. I use a weekly planner.
I do both. Yeah.
Okay.
I
like
so
write down the big things.
Yep.
And then if little things come up during the day, that's fine to me as long as I get my big things done.
Yep.
Yeah. And I just wanted to touch on real quick some different like metrics and stuff that we haven't gone over yet. Like we went over step goals and resting heart rate goals and stuff like that. Strength minimum is 2 times a week. The better or the ideal is more 3 to 4 times a week. And then for nutrition, protein, your like baseline level for longevity is 1.2 to 1.6 grams per kilogram a day. So it'd be like 0.6 to 0.8 grams per pound of body weight. So if you weigh 200 pounds, it'd be anywhere from 120 to 160 grams. That's just for longevity. It's not like for maximizing your body composition or anything, but if you're lifting, you're going to want to be on that higher end of like 0.8 to 1 gram per pound of body weight or lean body mass. Fiber, that's another one. 25 to 35 grams of fiber a day is huge as far as just your overall health and well-being.
Yep. Fruits
and vegetables, 5 to 8 servings a day. And obviously hydration, making sure that you're being adequately hydrated. You can kind of check just based on your urine level most of the day, thirst level, depending on weather and activity, it's going to change a little bit throughout the year. Sleep 7.5 to 9 hours. Go to bed within 30 to 60 minutes at the same time every night. That's one thing that isn't talked about a lot is consistency of bedtime and wake time.
Yeah, because that matters a lot.
Yeah.
I try to have a similar bedtime, actually. My wake time might vary a little bit, but I try to always have a very consistent bedtime.
Yeah, I think they did research that, and that's more important than a consistent wake time. Is if you have a consistent bedtime, that matters more for longevity. And then obviously like getting blood work yearly, making sure that like your levels are all where they should be, and then getting like vitamin D tested and iron and things like that, and even just like basic things of brushing your teeth and like getting dental cleanings, because actually like your oral health is associated with better cardiovascular health. And if you have poor oral health, then you're going to have poor cardiovascular health. And then obviously like don't smoke, limit your alcohol, et cetera, all the things you can prevent, like wear sunscreen, wear seatbelts, basic things that are good for you.
Yep.
It's like,
have good habits.
Yeah, good overall habits. Like if you want to live a long and healthy life, don't drive
long
around
and healthy is the key there.
Long and healthy.
Like we want to increase people's health span, not just their lifespan.
Yeah.
Right. And quality of life.
Right. But yeah. Anything else you guys want to add? Does that sum up everything pretty good?
Yeah. I mean, we can end with your awesome quote here where
Yeah.
it says, the healthiest people usually aren't the ones chasing the newest biohack. They're the ones who have built a lifestyle where the basics happen automatically. They sleep, move, lift, eat well, manage stress, and repeat that same process for decades.
Yes.
So the key is to nail the basics and just make sure you're doing the basics. You could always add in those things that the extra little biohacks and stuff like that, but don't worry about it so much until you nail the basics.
Right.
That's the key.
The extra stuff's just like the cherry on top.
Yeah, it's like the 5%,
the
1 to 5% difference. These things that we talked about are the 95%.
Exactly.
Awesome. Okay, till next time, stay healthy, and if you need any help, let us know. We'd be happy to sit down and get you started.